What is the SWIT model? What is it all about? Hello, this is Sador. I am the CEO, President for the SWIT Institute. I am a quadruple board certified psychiatrist, and I am presenting to you today the SWIT model, and I'm going to explain it to you. As part of my training, I have been fortunate enough to actually be trained in both adult psychodynamic psychotherapy and child and adolescent psychodynamic psychotherapy. This is one of the several treatment modalities I've been fortunate to train in. One key principle in psychodynamic psychotherapy that I've been able to use across my practice is explain what you do and why you do it. We've also been teaching this principle through our SWIT seminars and webinars. And this principle actually has been translated beyond medicine, beyond mental health. It's been seen in business. It's been seen actually in politics. I remember President Obama said once, one mistake that I made was not to take enough time to explain to the American people some of what I was doing. It means that not following such a principle may actually have its setback, and making sure that you follow such a principle can be very rewarding because it can make sure that everybody's on the same page. This is one of the reasons why I am taking the time today and in subsequent videos to talk about the SWIT model. Last week, we were in London presenting on the SWIT model, and obviously this has been extremely rewarding for everybody. And we are currently working on publishing an article on an international journal talking about the SWIT model. And we are, again, working on making sure that everyone understands what the SWIT model is all about, because we do believe that the more it's understood, the more it will be appreciated. The more it's appreciated, the more we will be able to take advantage of it, because the goal is to make sure that each and every clinician throughout the United States has access to something that they all deserve. The SWIT model is made of the following sections. Number one, we have the SWIT paradigm. Number two, we have the SWIT framework. And number three, we have the SWIT formula. Let's start with the SWIT paradigm. The SWIT paradigm has 5 different components. Number one, it is the Socratic method. Number two, it is the collective learning. Number three, it is critical thinking in clinical care. Number four, it is what we call the desire method. And number 5, it is what we call mastery. Let's now talk about very quickly what the components of the SWIT framework is. The SWIT framework, in turn, is made of the following components. We have principles, we have techniques, we have steps, we have do's, and we have don'ts. Now, what about the SWIT formula? The SWIT formula is what really is the spirit of everything we do. In other words, the SWIT paradigm, which I will be elaborating on later and in a subsequent video, and the SWIT framework, which I will also be elaborating on, take place within the SWIT formula. In other words, if the SWIT framework and the SWIT paradigm happens to be the content, the what, the how happens to be the SWIT formula. What are the components of the SWIT formula? We start with the why, and we will elaborate on this later on as well. We then have the how, which happens to be made up the SWIT framework. We also have the what, the then what. Now, we are going to also take some time to elaborate on the SWIT formula, but for today, I would like to start speaking a little bit with some of the components of the SWIT framework. Here's what happens. We've all been doing our best to do the best for our patients and clients and the individuals we serve. We've all been in this field to make a difference in the lives of our patients and clients and the individuals we serve. We read, we get supervision, we do experiential learning, we do our best. However, we often find ourselves overwhelmed, frustrated, not knowing what to do. And despite the fact that we read, we learn, we go to so many different conferences that tell us we need continuing education, we go and those places, but something is still missing. Here's what it is. It is a framework. When we do not have a framework, we have some information here, some information there. It really fails to crystallize. It fails to be put together. Sometimes it even becomes so noisy, and it wonder, when do I do this? When do I do that? There is no framework, and all of us have been through this. Nobody really takes some time to understand that at this point, what we all need as clinicians, because we really don't have the time to sometimes to do things in a certain way. We need a framework. From this framework, that is going to be our foundation, is going to help us remain grounded and be able to tailor, individualize our interventions, our different tools to several patients and clients. With the framework we use with the SWIT Institute is through the following components that I already mentioned. Every single topic, every single area in mental health and beyond, we have a set of principles, a set of guidelines that we can draw from. And those guidelines are better explained and implemented and tailored through a set of techniques that we also have for each different area. And then what about getting a little bit even more concrete? What are the steps? 1, 2, 3 we can follow as we implement this framework. And then what are the nuts and bolts, the do's and don'ts we need to make sure we pay attention to? This is part of the framework. Let me give you some examples. We have our upcoming webinars this week, Wednesday, 12 to 2 p.m., Thursday, also 12 to 2 p.m., and Friday, 12 to 2 p.m. It's a series of webinars on mental health assessment. Guess what? On mental health. The Wednesday is going to be the new strategies to mental health assessment, which is going to present the framework that is made up all of those 5 components I just told you. Thursday is going to be on the principles and steps, where we are going to take time to drill down each of the principles and the steps. Friday is going to be on the techniques and do's and don'ts. We're going to drill down on those. Now, the example I wanted to give is, we have no framework for mental health assessment. I can tell you, I've been in every single system you can think of, and I've been to the major schools that you can name. I've studied with some of the best masters in the field, and I can tell you, we have no framework for mental health assessment. Mental health assessment, one of the most common things that we do, is also one of the least understood of what we do, because there's no framework. There is no way for us to refer to say, to measure our improvement. If I really want to become an expert in mental health assessment, how do I do that? If I want to improve my work with my patients and clients, how do I do that? Again, just like I said, Sweet Institute comes up with the solution to this, not just for mental health assessment, but for everything you're gonna have to do in mental health. Engagement, how do I engage someone? We have a framework for you. What about de-escalation skills? How do I de-escalate someone? How do I actually do some what we call crisis intervention? We have a framework for you. What about when it comes to understanding anxiety? We had a very great webinar yesterday about almost 100 clinicians throughout the country. Great webinar, great group, I have to say, wonderful. If you were watching this video, thank you for yesterday, wonderful. We had the week Saturday before, understanding personality disorder. Each Saturday we have, obviously from 4 to 6 p.m., we have a webinar around those great topics. And then obviously every other Wednesday, we also have a webinar. Each one of our webinars and our seminars has to do with providing us with a framework. Can you imagine now going forward? I have a framework to work with children and adolescents. I have a framework to work with justice-involved individuals. What about individuals with dementia? I have a framework for that now. What about being able to know about the DSM, to understand the DSM, to understand diagnostic formulation, case formulation, all of those common but obscure, all of those really easy but hard, difficult topics in mental health, the Sweet Institute, to the Sweet model, brings that to you. We look forward to your feedback. We look forward to continue to work with you, and we look forward to working with your agencies, with each one of you clinicians and staff, in order for us to do the best work possible for our patients and clients and individuals we serve, in order for us to also enhance each clinician, to make sure that each one of us feels empowered, has meaning in our life, in our professional and personal life as we continue to do this work. But at the same time, each agency can remain afloat. No agency needs to go bankrupt just because there's no money. There is a way to do all this, and also for the system to get together to really do the best for everybody, for our patients and clients, and for the clinicians who work with them, and for the agencies that are serving those patients and clients. Thank you for tuning in. We look forward to subsequent videos where we are going to be exploring more, elaborating on the Sweet framework, the Sweet formula, and the Sweet paradigm. We love you very much. Thank you for choosing the Sweet Institute. Special thank you to all our members. Special thank you to all of you who keep coming to our webinars. We now are going to have webinars every Wednesday, every Monday, very soon, every Tuesday. We're gonna have the Spanish speaking the Spanish skills for clinicians. We're gonna have webinars every Sunday from 4 to 6 for every one of you who talk about having some flexible time. We also have been having webinars every single Saturday from 4 to 6. This is the idea is to provide as much flexibility, because we know you're busy, we know you have so many things you're doing, but we need to make sure that we bring as much value as possible. Thank you again. Share this, let others know about it. Join us, give us feedback. Let's do this together. Let's work on a framework to make sure that we are getting what will not be given, because we can be empowered. We love you. Happy Sunday. Have a wonderful week. Have a wonderful rest of the month of March. And for all the social workers out there, happy Social Work Month. Bye-bye.